Animals you just don't want to mess with. Maybe the most metal creature ever, the shaggy frog doesn't simply appear as though the kind of land and water proficient that'd be first into the mosh pit at a Slayer gig. However, it has an intriguing guard component when it feels compromised. It breaks its own legs whenever these little distraught fellows are being assaulted or gotten by relentless scholars looking to consider them in their local Central African timberlands. They push a hard prod through the skin of their feet by breaking the knob that sheathes it. Like a non-mending Wolverine from X-Men. So for what reason would people not meddle with them? They aren't hazardous. Indeed, okay, need to be answerable for letting an innocuous little frog break their own feet in dread. If you don't mind, say no. In the event that you were liking appropriating a little egg or two for your dinner, you'd presumably pick a feathered creature like the capercaillie to take from. They're such a grouse. So not that brilliant. In addition to their heads point upwards, making it look like they're doing a spot of stargazing. Yet, don't be tricked by these fat little beasties' entertaining appearance. They'll beat you senseless here and there. The forest male western capercaillies show increased territoriality and animosity during mating season, regularly ready to battle any and all individuals, including unfortunate feathered creature watchers who will close. It appears to be that this conduct isn't all male capercaillies, notwithstanding an investigation that followed conduct in the more degenerate flying creatures guys known to assault people, directed in southern Finland, discovered that these guys indicated testosterone levels multiple times higher than the standard. It very well may be the impact of negative sexual engraving, anomalous sex hormone dissemination, or underground capercaillie steroid use in the storage spaces of Finland's avian exercise centers. Okay, the last explanation was phony. Going head-to-head with the fisherman fish for the title of the sea's most startling-looking occupant, moray eels are pretty frightening creatures. They stay nearby close to reefs and rough pieces of shallow waters, prepared to grab any passing prey. Once in a while, a jumper's hand resembles an accidental scavenger to a moray eel. You can see where I'm going here, with huge numbers of the 200 unique species having some extraordinarily terrible-looking, needle-like teeth. One can envision that a chomp from one of these dead peer-toward beasts would be very disagreeable, given that their teeth are organized in a regressive confronting design, causing a tear-like chomp, and given that their mucus contains two kinds of awful toxin that makes red platelets both cluster and ultimately get devastated. Possibly calling their nibble undesirable was somewhat of an understatement, plus, take a gander at their face. Ugh. Growing, redness, tingling, conceivable hypersensitivity and tissue putrefaction, all standard toll for a pinch from a dreadful crawler. So what makes a nibble from the monster desert centipede, otherwise called the tiger centipede, any not the same as state, a honeybee sting, the torment? Sweet mother of kindness. The pain, naturalist Coyote Peterson, extraordinary name, has gotten somewhat of a legend in the realm of individuals doing perilous things for the sake of progress by dealing with the rundown of creepy crawly sting pain index, aka the Schmidt pain index, named after entomologist Justin Schmidt. For what reason is it named after him? Since he did likewise Coyote did, willfully subject himself to a progression of bug stings for the sake of science, people will frequently think about the slug insect or tarantula cell wasp as the most exceedingly awful agony providers in the bug world. Not as indicated by Coyote Peterson, this fare totally obscures all the creepy crawly stings I've taken. To be perfectly honest, I trust him. I don't think about you, dear peruser, yet where I'm from, jaybirds or astute, lovely winged animals that will squeeze any gleaming items it finds to fly back to their homes. Not down under, there. They're a hazardous menace. Australian jaybirds appear to have built up a neurotic scorn of people who stroll inside a couple of feet of their home. Accordingly, these dark and white blighters have made plans to jump bomb anyone who meanders inside their proximal zone of assurance, particularly cyclists. This year alone there have been more than 3,000 assaults on people by jaybirds in Australia, with 399 individuals accepting wounds, not simply a hop alarm as they drive to work through the recreation centre. These Middle Eastern monsters are so totally horrendous that they have enlivened metropolitan legends. Alright, so they may not infuse accidental casualties with a neighborhood sedative to utilize their gigantic mandibles to cut corner-sized openings in your middle to tunnel inside and eat your guts from there. Inside, yet they are unpleasant little eight-legged creature that could make some serious trouble for you, one of a chomp and one serious fright, whilst appearing as though a cross between a Goliath, scorpion and an insect might sufficiently be to send the vast majority shouting for their mom. They do have one uncommon property that make them very much positioned on this rundown. They're horrifyingly quick. Possibly not speedy enough to get a sensibly fit and solid individual running at maximum capacity, yet checking in at a great 10 miles per hour, you better expectation your lower leg stays unstressed. Because of an apparently never-ending intriguing creature exchange, people are regularly found possessing some pretty perilous creatures. When we consider that this huge turtle would one say one is of them, you may think, what? It's a turtle. Short, some ninja weapons and a rodent sensei. They're moderate and adorable. Wrong. As indicated by Thomas Coy of Austin's Turtle Page, a site for turtle devotees and managers. These tremendous monsters aren't appropriate for some accomplished handlers. The croc-snapping turtle has one of the most impressive chomps in the set of all animals, estimating in at an astounding 1,000 psi pounds per square inch. They're not to be disparaged. The extraordinary white shark has a nibble power of 625 psi. They may not be comparable to the puma, 1,350 psi, gorilla, 1,300 psi, or a crocodile, 3,700 psi. However, no one could actually attempt to give one of these creatures a nestle. An amicable little turtle, however. In the event that you need to give it a go, plan to stay bye-bye to your thumbs. These folks are significantly cuter than the turtles, until you take a gander at those hooks. What's more, particularly in the event that you know how they battle when undermined, Goliath insect-eating animals back up, lift their hooks and swipe, leaving anyone sufficiently unfortunate to go head-to-head with these Central, South American creatures thinking, so that's what my guts look like. In 2010 and 2012 separately, 2 Brazilian trackers were executed by insect-eating animals. The 2 cases provoked caution concerning the deficiency of the animal's environment, perhaps showing that an expansion in such experiences might be on the cards. In 2009, an Argentine animal specialist was battered to death while she was inside the fenced-in area with an especially forceful insect-eating animal. The antiquated Aztecs considered the creature a humorous, joke artist-like figure, while surrealists like Dali and illustrator Max Fleischer likewise highlighted the creature's abnormal look. Always remember the pause. The sign is in the name. These bugs are frequently recorded as one of the top creatures that cause human passings. Be that as it may, they're generally a disturbance. Their nibble is bothering and irritated. A few animal varieties show the shocking conduct of wearing the carcasses of their vanquished enemy. connecting the body of the killed bug to their back, which is shrouded in a tacky substance. So how would they execute people? Whilst most professional killer bugs don't murder individuals, the improperly named kissing bug, Rhodnius prolixus, is an animal category that carries on within South America that conveys the parasitic protozoan that causes Chagas sickness. The disease influences around 7 million individuals generally in South America, and can prompt genuine heart issues, neurological problems and early demise. We've viewed some truly dreadful-looking creatures and some dolls. The sloths of the world will in general part individuals as far as how they are seen. A few people discover them absolutely cute. Others discover them dreadful and abnormal-looking. Whatever you may consider them, you would prefer not to play with a wild example. Is it that, in spite of their drowsy developments, each sloth is concealing a switchblade under their hide? Obviously not. Yet there is something different covered up in their fur, an entire part of bugs and hatchlings and vermin, and a huge load of corrupt stank, moths, parasites, a smelling green growth on one example. Around 980 scarab bugs all make their home on the body of this sluggish tree holder. In the event that you add this to the way that at whatever point a sloth craps it clears 33% of its own body weight in fecal issue, sloths might be the grossest creature on the planet. In addition to side, that gross green growth may hold a sort of organism that will wind up restoring disease. We need to begin fundraising to furnish sloth researcher with garment stakes for their noses. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and click bell.